So, greetings out there to everyone in YouTube land. Greetings to the mystics and the dreamers out there. My name is Belle, and I'd like to share some journaled insights from tarot cards today. I already did one video earlier this week about the same topic. I'll be looking at 4 new cards today, also from Tarot of the Trance. And as I said in the other video, normally I read the cards spontaneously, but this time I journaled some reflections on the cards. Then I want to read what I journaled and kind of share that insight. It's very soulful to me. It's very awesome. So that's fun. Before I get started, I'd like to share some empowering mantras that I just created earlier today. I was watching a video, a little talk given by Bashar. Some of his videos are really empowering. Actually, most of them are. And I guess it's Daryl Anka channels Bashar. That was what I was watching. And anyway, it just gave me a boost because he was talking about how there are different parallel realities, and everyone's like in charge of their own reality, and then you kind of set your course, and you every time you make a choice you are adjusting your reality, so you're definitely creating your own reality from his perspective. And I really like that. It's really empowering. It really makes me feel good about my life choices, about what I want to create in my life. So based on listening to that earlier today from YouTube, I wrote some empowering mantras. The first 2 I created were I create my own reality and I believe in myself. I actually put that in the opposite order. Usually I would say I believe in myself, I create my own reality. So those 2 I really like together. I actually wrote those down, put them by my comfy chair. And then I came up with a few more. I'm always telling you to think for yourself in these videos, so I created a mantra about that. I think for myself and I empower myself. And then that's a different one. And then the next mantra is I love myself, I love who I am. And of course, when you love yourself and you empower yourself, you kind of want to share that with others, in terms of you want others to be empowered in their own way, in the way that's right for them. I want everyone to love who they are in the way that's right for them as an individual. I think we all share more good vibes when we're all feeling good about who we are, because I know if I'm not feeling well, I'm more likely to be rude or snarky because I just don't feel up to it. I don't feel like sharing something good because I'm not feeling good. But if I can believe in who I am, love who I am, believe in myself, and then even believe that I create my own reality in many ways. Actually, just ultimately, you create your own reality. I think, from a certain starting point, and then you chart your course. So if I can do all those things, I'm more likely to share good vibes and good thoughts for others. One way I like to create good habits is to do that idea of the loving kindness meditation, where you send positive thoughts to people, whether or not it's a challenging person for you or someone you genuinely like. You just try to send a good, wish them well, try to send a positive vibe their way. And it's mostly for yourself in a way, because it's within your own mind, but it's also you genuinely were okay, I wish everyone well. I don't always see eye to eye with everyone, but I wish you well. I wish everyone happiness and peacefulness, and I hope everyone gets what they want in a way that doesn't harm anyone else, in a healthy way. Okay, so those are the mantras I wanted to share. And then I'm going to be reading from my journal a little bit. Fortunately, my husband Joey got me this really great microphone that I've been using, so I think you can still hear me even as I'm reading. It's a little bit awkward, but just have to make the best of it. Let me make sure my computer doesn't shut down. Okay, so as I said, I'm working with 4 cards that I already viewed and journaled about from Tarot of the Trance. Tarot of the Trance is by Eva Maria Nietzsche. Eva Maria Nietzsche. I'm not sure if it's still being produced or published, but you can still find them on Amazon. Okay. The first card is the Star. Oh, and I also wanted to say, like, this is a reading I did for myself, but take from it what you want to. So I was really happy because the first card is the Star, and the second card is the High Priestess. And since I'm a woman, I always resonate well with, like, the strong female characters in the tarot, like the High Priestess or the Queen of Cups, or like different characters like that. You know, just as a positive reflection. And I also really like tarot decks that feature a lot of female characters as the main character in each card. And actually, as a side note, one of the things I didn't like originally about Tarot of the Trance was that the men are depicted as being clothed and the women are mostly naked. And I was like, that's kind of sexist, but I think it's supposed to be symbolic maybe of like vulnerability or strength in terms of the nakedness of the women, but I didn't really like that much. There's some male nudity, but it's mostly like the women are naked, the men are clothed. That's a little bit weird to me still, but like, and if you watch the previous video I did about the Tarot of the Trance cards, it was very powerful imagery, so I think it worked out, but like I had to get used to the idea of some of the imagery in these cards. Okay, so the first card that we're going to go over today is the Star, and it kind of helps, like, I don't know anything about the traditional meaning of the Star card. I know it's a positive card. Actually, I was just reading a book that said each card can have positive and negative attributes. There's no cards that are good or bad. I kind of like that idea, but I think when I see the cards, sometimes you're like, you kind of think some cards are more positive than others. Like the High Priestess and the Star cards seem really cool to me. If I got like a bunch of swords that were like kind of negative imagery, and then like the Devil card, I'd be like, oh my god, what's happening with these cards? But I like the point that the book makes. I don't have the book with me. I'll just share that at a different time. Okay, the Star. Let's see what I wrote down in my journal about this card. So it took me a while to get started, and then finally I wrote down the idea of the macrocosm and the microcosm relationship, because there are stars in the sky and then there are stars in her hair. So I was thinking about how things are interconnected, and you can think about different aspects of life as being related through subtle energies. And so it's almost like she has a miniature version of the stars with her, even as the stars are also in the night sky. You also see an idea of reflection, because there's the reflection of the stars in the water from the sky above. So there's two different ideas there. The microcosm, macrocosm, and the reflection, both based around the stars. And then I wrote down that I think this tall flower there on the side, the tall flower could represent the majesty of nature. And what I got from this card overall was a sense of renewal, a natural sense of innocence, and growth. So I didn't write too much about that card. I think I got into the writing a little bit more than the other ones. We'll see what happens. Excuse me. The second card is the Four of Cups. This one is very abstract. You can kind of see some goblets there, but it's pretty abstract. I thought about the number 4, and I was like, well, the number 4 could represent the earth-based directions, like north, south, east, west. And it could also represent the different elements of nature. So that's one idea. And then I wrote down, it's kind of interesting that there's all the kinds of symmetry almost happening with this card. It's not truly symmetrical, but you could draw like a few different lines of symmetry in this card. So I thought that was cool. The cups are overflowing with good fortune. And then I went back to the idea of the directions. The compass with 4 directions does come to mind. We are walking on our journey, and we have infinite points of light available, infinite possible positive choices. And these choices are available to us. So that's another idea. And then I said, each goblet's design is colorful and bold. Harming none, there are no wrong choices. Be free to express who you are. Don't feel bad about having like a vulnerability or a vulnerable soul. You could think of your soulfulness as precious and intrinsically of infinite worth. So that's kind of cool. So it's almost like you're using like your own psyche, and you're gazing at the card and you're reflecting from your own mind, your own psyche, kind of triggered by some of the elements of the card to dig into your own ideas. I really like that. I mean, you can do it with anything, but I think it helps to have the cards. Because the cards offer a little bit of a starting point. Okay. The third card, as I mentioned, is the High Priestess, and it's very like abstract kind of design for the High Priestess. You've got a lot of spirals. So the spirals reminded me of the idea of the spiral path. And in the spiral path, you like in a straight line, you're always doing something different. But a spiral path, you come around to ideas more than once, but you're growing and having a renewed sense of those ideas each time you come back to it. So that's kind of cool. And you're still making progress. The spiral is still moving in a certain direction, but you can still revisit ideas and themes and have a deeper sense of the ideas and themes each time. And then I noticed that if you see there's a white egg there at her feet. So I was like, the High Priestess, she is floating in the cosmos on an egg of transformation and bright possibilities. It is time to unearth the vision in your life of the High Priestess. It is not wrong to believe in your dreams and ideals. You have infinite intrinsic worth, and you deserve love and light and blissful happiness. You deserve to stand tall and walk tall with your own dignity and elegance. Do not forget your own magnificence, which is unique, and this aspect of unique magnificence is something that's found in everyone. It's really cool. And for the fourth card, I drew the Knight of Wands. And in the Knight of Wands, there's only like one main aspect of it that stood out to me, which you'll see as I read this. So he has a staff there, like the wand is kind of depicted as a staff. And the staff is man-made, and it's right next to a vine, which of course is made from nature. So I was thinking the vine can grow as much as it wants, but the staff is already confined by its man-made nature and its man-made limitations. So this made me think about more stuff along these lines. I wrote, the physical world, devoid of any soul or spirit, will eventually crumble because it is too rigid to last forever. But the green growth of nature is eternal, everlasting. Humankind is poised between the dull and rigid man-made structures on one hand, and on the other hand, the endless green growth cycles inherent in nature. If you want a taste of immortality, tune in with nature. Humankind is still capable of growing roots and becoming part of nature and the cosmos in a realized way again. So that's really cool. Like, I really like how I can uncover insights in a soulful way that I wouldn't really have access to without tuning into the tarot cards. It's really fun. And I recommend this to everyone. Like, get a journal, pick out your favorite deck of tarot cards to start with, and see what insights pop up when you tune in with a card. That was my favorite. Even though I like the Star card and the High Priestess card the most, I think the insights that I shared about the difference between the man-made world, which kind of crumbles because it's devoid of soul or spirit, that sense of soulfulness, or it's like devoid of life force. And then, but on the other hand, we have nature, which can always renew itself, can always have a cycle of regrowth. And that kind of relates to the ego, the worst sense of the human ego, which can kind of eventually crumble because it's a type of facade, or like a type of self-image that isn't that natural, isn't that true to life. And then the other way of doing things is to be your authentic self, to try to be pretty straightforward, try to be pretty honest with yourself and others and the way you live, and perhaps you tap into more of a soulful way of doing things, which maybe is more life-sustaining because it just gives you more energy. You're more lined up with what you really want to believe in, with your authentic self. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.